The stars were quiet, cold, far away, but not empty. Hidden among them, watching from the dark, were the Virex Concord, an old alliance of alien species that had ruled parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. They were careful, smart, and very good at staying unseen. For centuries they had watched Earth. From far away they studied humans like scientists study ants. They saw wars, pollution, broken governments, and slow progress. To them, humans were loud, messy, and weak. Not worth contact, not worth fear. So they stayed hidden. They built silent stations near Jupiter. Drones floated through the asteroid belt, sending data back to their home systems. Some of the Virex thought maybe one day humans would grow up. Most just waited for them to destroy themselves. Among them was a diplomat named Lyra Torin. She was tall, with pale skin and eyes that shimmered like oil on water. She had been watching Earth longer than most. She believed humans were different, not strong, not yet, but strange. They learn fast, she said once during a meeting with the Council. Even when they fight each other, they build things. New tools. New ideas. A warrior from the Threxian fleet laughed. Yes, and then they blow each other up with them. Lyra didn't argue. She knew the history. But something about humans felt off. Like they were hiding. Still, the Council voted against contact. They agreed. Humans were too chaotic, too dangerous. Better to watch and wait, and so they did. Then came the signal. It wasn't from Earth. It came from deep space, far beyond the solar system, from a point where nothing should have been. At first, the Virex thought it was a mistake. Then they listened. It was a message. In perfect galactic standard. We are human. We are from the future. Do not make the same mistake twice. Hide what you know. Wait for us. No one understood it. Was it a hoax? A trap? Lyra wanted to respond. Others wanted to destroy the source. The Council argued for weeks. In the end, they decided to do nothing. Again. But this time they were wrong. Back on Earth, life went on. People lived their lives. Kids went to school. Workers went to jobs. Politicians argued. Nothing seemed different. But beneath the surface, something was changing. It started small. First, a group of scientists in Norway solved a problem no one else could. Then a startup in Kenya made a battery 10 times more powerful than anything known. Governments began working together without explanation. Old enemies shared secrets. Military budgets shifted, not toward weapons, toward space. No one noticed at first, not even Mara Ellis, a linguist turned data analyst who worked for the UN's Outer Systems Division. She was smart, curious, and liked puzzles. That's why she was hired, to look for patterns in encrypted messages between nations. Most of it was boring, trade deals, military updates, diplomatic chatter. But one night, while reviewing old files, she found something strange. There was a pattern in the data, a thread connecting countries that shouldn't be talking. Messages sent over secure lines, bouncing through satellites, disappearing into private servers. She dug deeper. What she found wasn't just secret diplomacy. It was something bigger. There were names, projects, ship designs, launch schedules, all hidden under fake research programs, mining operations, and climate satellites. One name kept showing up, Project Dawnwave. She tried asking her boss about it. Smiled and said, "You're not cleared for that." That only made her more curious. Late one night, after hours of searching, she found a file buried inside an old NASA archive. It was labeled, Dawnwave Intro, Eyes Only. She opened it. Inside was a video. No logo, no date, just a voice. If you're seeing this, you've found something you weren't meant to. That means you're either lucky or clever. Either way, you need to understand we are not alone, and we are not defenseless. This project was started decades ago, not by one country, by all of them, because we got a message from ourselves from the future. We don't know how it works. We only know two things. Someone out there has seen what we become, and they were afraid enough to warn us. The screen went black. Mara sat still. Her heart pounded. Was this real? She looked around her office. The lights buzzed softly. Outside, the city slept. She realized something in that moment. Earth wasn't just being watched. Earth was preparing, and no one knew. Meanwhile, far above the planet, hidden behind Saturn's largest moon, a ship floated in silence. It was sleek, black, huge. Its engines were cold, its systems were asleep. But deep inside, a single light blinked green, waiting, ready, soon. Mara Ellis couldn't sleep. She sat at her desk with the lights off, staring at the screen. The message she had found kept playing in her head. We got a message. From ourselves. From the future. It didn't make sense. But it was real. She looked up the name again. Project Dawnwave. No official records, no press leaks, nothing on public servers. But there were clues. Small ones. Hidden in code. Buried in old reports. One thing was clear. This wasn't just a secret project. It was the secret project. She dug deeper. Over the next few days, she followed digital trails. Encrypted files led to more files. Back doors opened into hidden networks. She found names, dates, and plans that should not have existed. And then, late, one night someone found her. A message appeared on her screen. You've seen too much. Meet us. Midnight, Dock 7 Old Naval Base. No sender, no return address. Mara should have been scared, but she wasn't. She was excited. At midnight, she stood outside Dock 7. The wind blew hard. The sea smelled like salt and rust. A black van pulled up. The door slid open. Inside sat two people, a man and a woman. The man spoke first. We're from Project Dawnwave. His name was Derek Hale. Military background. Retired. Now worked for something called the Outer Systems Defense Committee. The woman was Nina Cho, scientist, engineer, young, but with sharp eyes. They didn't ask if she wanted to come. They just said, if you get in, there's no going back. Mara got in. They drove for an hour. Then they flew. In a quiet military jet, they crossed half the country and landed in a place that didn't exist on any map. Underground. Deep below the Nevada desert, they entered a base hidden for decades. There, Mara saw what Project Dawnwave really was. Not just a plan, not just a warning. It was a future. In a large room filled with screens and maps, Derek explained everything. Years ago, he said, a signal came through. Not from aliens, from humans. Future humans. He showed her data logs, voice samples, even video. In the footage, a man stood in front of a camera. He looked tired, scared. He said, if you're seeing this, it means we failed. Or maybe we succeeded enough to send this message. I don't know. What I do know is this. We were not ready. And because of that, we lost everything. So we sent this back. To warn you. To help you prepare. Don't trust anyone. Don't show your strength too soon. Wait until they think you're weak. Then strike. The screen went dark. Mara stared at it. So, what did you do? She asked. Nina answered, we built a future in secret. She pointed to a wall filled with ship designs. We started building ships, weapons, AI systems. We trained pilots, scientists, soldiers, all under cover of fake programs, climate satellites, deep space mining, even war games. Mara walked closer. You mean all those failed tech projects, the ones that never worked? They worked, Derek said. Just not for the public. He paused. We knew one day someone would come looking, someone who thought we were alone, weak, easy prey. He looked at her, and now, they are. Back. On Earth, things began to change. Governments moved faster. Nations shared secrets. Technology improved overnight. Wind farms powered cities without oil. Satellites cleaned space junk. New medicines cured diseases once thought untreatable. People noticed, but most didn't question it. After all, progress was good. Only a few knew the truth. Humanity wasn't just getting better, it was getting ready. Meanwhile, far away in deep space, the Virex Concorde watched. Their drones had picked up strange energy readings near Earth. Unusual satellite movements, secret bases being built underground. Lyra Torin studied the reports. She had warned the Council before. Now she feared she was right. Something was happening on Earth. Something new. She reviewed the latest scan data. "What do you see?" asked another Virex diplomat. Lyra frowned. "I see silence," she said. "Too much of it." Her colleague didn't understand. She pointed to a line of code buried in a deep space relay. "This isn't normal human activity," she said. "This is planning, organization, coordination." She looked up. "They're hiding something." The other diplomat shrugged. "So what? They're still primitive, still divided." Lyra shook her head. "No," she said. "They're not." She turned back to the screen. Somewhere in the dark, she felt it. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a threat. Back in the base, Mara stood in front of a huge window. Outside, deep underground, a ship rested in its dock. It was long, sleek, black. Crews moved around it, checking systems. Pilots trained nearby. She turned to Nina. "How many of these are there?" Nina smiled. 1,000, she said. "Maybe more." Mara looked back at the ship. She whispered, "Then why are we waiting?" Nina didn't answer right away. Finally, she said, "Because they haven't seen us yet." She looked at Mara. "When they do, we won't be the ones they remember." Far from Earth, hidden behind the rings of Saturn, a massive ship floated in silence. It was called the Aegis. Not the only one, not even the biggest. But it was real. Inside, lights blinked softly. Computers hummed. Life support systems kept things warm, clean, and safe. And inside the training rooms, young pilots worked hard. One of them was Caleb Morris. He wasn't old, just 22. But he had never walked on Earth. He was born in space. His parents were part of the first secret crew sent to build the hidden bases around Saturn and Jupiter. From the time he could walk, Caleb trained to fly. Not planes, not drones, warships. Each morning, Caleb woke up early. No sun here, just artificial light. He ate quickly, then ran to the sim room. There, he sat in a pod that moved like a real ship. Lights flashed, alarms beeped. His hands flew over controls. In the sim, he fought enemies that didn't exist, but felt real. Sometimes he lost. Most times he won. Today, he beat his best time. Afterward, he met his team. Elena, Tariq, and Ray. They were all like him. Raised in secret, trained for war, but never seeing a real enemy. "Think we'll ever get to fight?" Elena asked. Tariq laughed. "Doubt it. We're just practice birds." Ray looked serious. "Maybe. Or maybe they're waiting for the right time." Caleb didn't say anything. He had heard rumors, strange signals, enemy ships seen near Mars. Something was coming. But no one told them much. They were just pilots. Waiting. Training. Ready. Back on Earth, Project Dawnwave kept moving. The world changed slowly, but powerfully. Countries shared tech they had never shared before. New energy sources replaced oil. AI systems helped run cities. Satellites cleaned up space junk. To most people, it seemed like progress. To those who knew the truth, it was preparation. Mara Ellis now worked full-time with Project Dawnwave. She studied alien signals, decoded Virex transmissions, helped plan what came next. At night, she read reports about the fleet. Thousands of ships, hidden in moons, buried under ice, floating in the dark, all built by humans. All ready, but not yet used. She asked Derek Hale why. He said, "Because once we show ourselves, there's no going back." She understood. Still, she wondered how long they could wait. Then something happened. Far out near Neptune, A Virex drone entered the solar system. It was small, silent, fast. It scanned the space around it, looking for signs of life. It found none, or so it thought. A few minutes later, it vanished. No signal, no warning, just gone. On board a nearby ship, the Vanguard, a pilot named Captain Lila Cruz watched the feed. "Target neutralized," she said into her comm. Her voice was calm. Behind her, a technician nodded. "We've got company," he said, pointing at a new blip on the screen. Another Virex probe, this one bigger. Lila gave orders. 2 stealth ships launched. They moved fast. 10 minutes later, that probe was gone too. "No survivors," one pilot reported. Lila stood up. She looked at the screen. "They'll notice this," she said. "They already have," the technician replied. Across the galaxy, the Virex Concord held an emergency meeting. Lyra Torin sat in the center. She had warned them. Now she had proof. "Their probes are disappearing," she said. "Not broken, not lost. Taken out," a council member frowned. "By whom?" Lyra pointed at data on the screen. "Earth." Silence filled the room. One leader laughed. "You think humans did this? They can barely control their own planet." Lyra stared at him. "That's what we thought," she said. "But now, I'm not so sure." On Earth, President Julie Carter called a meeting. Top leaders, scientists, military heads. She stood at the front. "We need to talk about what happens next," she said. Some wanted peace. Others wanted to strike first. Mara sat quietly. She thought about Caleb flying in the dark, about the thousands of ships waiting, about the message from the future. Don't show your strength too soon. Wait until they think you're weak. Then strike, she whispered to herself. We're not weak anymore. Back in space, Caleb finished his final test. He passed with top marks. As he stepped out, Captain Lila Cruz walked up to him. You did well, she said. He nodded. Thank you, ma'am. She looked at him for a moment. Then she said, Get some rest. You might not have much time left. He frowned. Why? What's happening? She smiled. I think our wait is almost over. Caleb Morris stood on the bridge of the Aegis. It was his first real shift. Lights blinked. Alarms beeped softly. Crew members moved with quiet focus. Outside the main view screen, space stretched, dark and empty, but not for long. Contact report, said Captain Lila Cruz. A young officer checked her screen. 2 enemy ships entering Saturn's orbit, Virex design. Everyone on the bridge went still. Caleb felt his heart beat faster. This was it. No more training. No more waiting. He looked at Cruz. She didn't look surprised. She looked ready. Launch. All wings, she said. The order echoed through the ship. Across the hidden fleet, engines roared to life. Dozens of sleek black ships launched from moons, asteroids, and deep space docks. The humans were moving. The 2 Virex scouts floated silently. Near Saturn, they had no idea what was coming. Their mission was simple: scan the area, collect data, return home. One pilot named Vex Torin sat inside the lead ship. He tapped his fingers on the console. This is boring, he said. His partner, Kira Mall, shrugged. At least it's easy. Then their radar lit up. Multiple targets, fast, coming from all directions. What the? Kira started. Before they could react, the first human ship struck. Missiles flew. Lasers burned. Shields cracked. The Virex pilots barely had time to raise an alarm. One scout exploded in silence. The other tried to run. It didn't make it far. Captain Cruz's voice came over comms. Target neutralized. No survivors. Silence followed. Then a message from Earth. Good work. But this won't stay quiet for long. Back on Earth, President Julie Carter watched the news unfold. Reports came in fast. The Virex had sent more probes. They weren't coming back. Some governments began to panic. Others celebrated Mara. Ella sat in a secure room with Derek Hale and Nina Cho. They know now, Mara said. Derek nodded. Yeah, and they're going to ask questions. Nina frowned. What if they send more? What if they attack? Mara thought about it. We need to be ready. In deep space, the Virex Concord held an emergency meeting. Lyra Torrens stood before the council. Her voice was calm but serious. 2 scout ships entered Sol system, she said. They never returned. A warrior named Ron Kell scoffed. So, what? Maybe they broke down. Lyra shook her head. No, they were destroyed. Taken out. Another member asked. By who? Lyra looked at the screen behind her. By now they had partial scans. Faint images of strange ships. Fast, silent, powerful. By humans, she said. There was silence. Then laughter. Humans? Ron said. You think primitive humans shot down our ships? Lyra didn't smile. I do, she said. And if we don't take them seriously, we'll lose more than just scouts. The council argued for hours. Some wanted peace talks. Some wanted war. In the end, they did what they always did. They waited, but Lyra knew better. She sent a private message to her contact in the outer systems. If you are watching this, you've changed the game. We will come, soon. Be ready. Back on the Aegis. Caleb sat in the pilot's lounge. He couldn't sleep. Elena, Tariq, and Ray were there too. You think this is the start of something bigger? Elena asked. Tariq nodded. Feels like it. Ray stared out the window. I hope we're ready. Caleb looked at them. We trained for this, he said. We've been waiting years. Elena smiled. Still, I didn't think it would happen so fast. Just then, the comms buzzed. All hands, prepare for launch, said a voice over the speakers. Caleb stood up. They all did. It was time. Far from Earth, another Virex ship arrived. This one larger, heavily armed. Its mission, investigate the loss of the scouts. It hovered near Jupiter. Scans ran. Data flowed. Then without warning, the darkness lit up. Human ships dropped from stealth. Lasers fired. Missiles launched. Shields shattered. The Virex ship tried to flee. It never had a chance. Within minutes, it was gone. No survivors, only wreckage. On board the Vanguard, Captain Cruz gave the order. Send them a message. A signal was broadcast across all known Virex frequencies. It was short. It was clear. It was final. This is Captain Caleb Morris of Dawnwave Flight Alpha. We are not ready for peace. The message spread fast. Across the stars. Through secret channels. In quiet meetings on alien worlds. Humans are not weak. They destroyed our ships. They are ready for war. In the Virex Concord, panic grew. Lyra Torrens stood before the council once again. She had warned them. Now they were listening, but not all of them liked what she had to say. We must talk to them, she said, before it's too late. A warrior named Ron Kell stood up. No, he said. We must strike first. Others nodded. The room filled with arguing voices. Some wanted peace. Most wanted revenge. Lyra knew one thing. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was no longer just a planet. It was a power. Back on Earth, things were also changing. President Julie Carter held a global broadcast. For the first time, she told the truth, not just to leaders, to everyone. Millions watched. She stood in front of the world press. Behind her, the flag of the United Nations waved gently. She began. For many years we have kept a secret, she said. Not to hide from you, but to protect all of us. People listened. Children, workers, soldiers, scientists. She continued. We are not alone in the universe. And we never were. Gasps filled homes, schools, and cities. She showed images, ships, weapons, plans, proof that humans had been preparing, not for conquest, not for war, but for survival. Then came the hard part. "We have made contact," she said, and not all of it was peaceful. Silence followed. Then questions. Who were these aliens? Why hadn't we known before? What happens now? Mara Ellis sat in a secure room watching the broadcast. She thought about Caleb, about the fleet, about the message from the future. Don't show your strength too soon. Well, now they had, and there was no going back. On board the Aegis, Caleb Morris sat with his team. Elena, Tariq, and Ray were there too. They watched the same broadcast on a small screen. Caleb didn't speak at first. He just stared. Then he said, "They finally told the world." Elena nodded. "Yeah, and now everyone knows we're not just pilots." Tariq crossed his arms. "So what now? Do we wait for them to come to us?" Ray looked serious. "I don't think we'll have to wait long." Just then, the comms buzzed. "Captain Morris," said a voice over the speakers. "Report to the bridge now." Caleb stood. "I guess we're about to find out." At the same time, far across the galaxy, other species reacted. Some feared, some watched, some planned. The Threxian warlords, a brutal empire that ruled the outer systems, saw humans as a threat. Their leader, Karzak the Red, called a meeting of his generals. "They think they're strong now," he growled. "Let them think that." One general asked, "Should we attack?" Karzak smiled. "Yes," he said. "Soon." On Earth, the world changed overnight. Some people panicked. Others celebrated. Newspapers ran headlines. "Humans are not alone. We have been lying to you. The future is here." Mara walked through the halls of Project Dawnwave. She passed soldiers, scientists, and diplomats, all working together. She found Derek Hale in his office. He looked tired. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded. "Just thinking." "About what?" He looked out the window. "About how long we can keep control of this," he said. "Now that the world knows." Mara sat down. "We've always been ready," she said. "Now we just have to prove it." In space, the Virex sent more scouts. This time they weren't hiding. They flew close to Mars. They scanned Earth. They sent messages home. And each time, human ships met them. Fast. Silent. Deadly. No more warnings. No more chances. If they came too close, they were taken out. Captain Cruz led most of the attacks. She became a legend among the fleet, but she didn't care about names, only results. Each mission brought more confidence, more proof. Humanity wasn't hiding anymore. They were showing what they could do. Meanwhile, on the moon, a new base was built. It wasn't for war. It was for diplomacy, a place where any species could meet humans face to face. It was called Dawnwave Station. Mara was asked to help set it up. She accepted, but she knew something. Peace would not come easy, not after what had happened. Still, she believed in it, because if humans could build 1,000 hidden ships, they could also build 1,000 chances for peace. Far away in deep space, Lyra Torin read reports. She studied every battle, every move. She watched how humans fought, how they spoke, how they worked together. She turned to her aide. "They're not like the others," she said. "They're not just warriors." Her aide frowned. "Then what are they?" Lyra looked out the window at the stars. "At their best," she said, "they are something new." Then she added quietly, "Something we should fear." The sky above Earth changed, not with war, but with silence. A silence that meant something big was coming. Across the world, people watched the news. They saw videos, old footage, hidden bases, secret ships. And then came the message. It's time. From every corner of the solar system they rose, hidden in the shadows of moons, buried beneath ice on Titan, floating silently behind asteroids. Humanity's fleet had been waiting. Now, it was moving. Caleb Morris stood on the bridge of the Aegis. He looked at the view screen. Thousands of ships filled space. Black, sleek, powerful. each one built not for show, but for purpose. Some were fast, some were strong, some carried weapons no alien had ever seen. All of them were ready. Captain Lila Cruz walked beside him. "You've waited your whole life for this," she said. Caleb nodded. "Feels real now," she smiled. "It is." Behind them, the comms buzzed. "All units report ready," said a voice. Caleb took a deep breath. "Then let's go." Back on Earth, President Julie Carter stood in front of the world. This time not to explain, but to announce. "We are no longer alone," she said. "And we are no longer hiding." She raised her hand. Behind her, the sky lit up. Not with explosions. With movement. Ships rising from orbit. Fleets launching from hidden docks. One by one, they vanished into the stars. People stared. Some cheered. Others cried. Because for the first time in history, humanity wasn't just dreaming of space. They were claiming it. Far away in Virex space, Lyra Torin watched the reports come in. Her face was calm, but inside she felt fear. "They're not just showing off," she said to her aide. "They're moving," her aide frowned. "For what?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she pointed at the data. "Their ships aren't just leaving Earth," she said. "They're spreading out." She looked at him. "They're taking control." In the outer systems, the human fleet moved fast. No flags, no banners, only power. Mars became a command center. Jupiter's orbit held defense lines. Satellites turned into battle stations. Every move was planned. Every ship had a role. Elena, Tariq, and Ray flew together in Wing Delta. They swept through asteroid belts, clearing old enemy sensors. Tariq laughed over comms. "Feels like we're ghosts," Elena grinned. "Better than ghosts, we're legends." Ray kept quiet. He watched the screens. Something was coming. He could feel it. On board the Vanguard, Captain Cruz met with other commanders. They reviewed maps, enemy positions, possible threats. One officer asked, "Do we wait for them to attack?" Cruz shook her head. "No," she said. "We don't wait." She looked at the others. "We own this space now." Silence followed, then nods, then action. Orders went out. Ships moved. Defenses grew, and the galaxy began to notice. Across the stars, other species reacted. Some sent messages, some ran, some got ready for war. The Threxian warlords saw the rise of the human fleet as a threat. Karzak the Red called his generals. "They think they can take our place," he growled. "They think they can rule space." One general asked, "Should we strike?" Karzak smiled. "Yes," he said. "Soon." But even he knew one thing. The humans weren't weak anymore. They were organized. They were fast. They were everywhere. And, worst of all, they were ready. Back on Earth, Mara Ellis stood in Dawnwave Station. It was now fully built, a meeting place for any species willing to talk. She looked out at the stars. She thought about the message from the future. "Don't show your strength too soon." Well, they had shown it. Now the test began. Would the galaxy see peace or war? She didn't know. But she did know this. Humanity had waited long enough. Now they were making their move, and they weren't going back. Far across space, the first signs of war began. A Virex patrol group tried to enter Saturn's orbit. They were met by a full human wing. No words, no warnings, just lasers. The Virex ships never made it home. Reports spread. Fear grew. Lyra Torin read the latest data. She looked up. "They're not just defending," she said. "They're expanding." Her aide asked, "What do we do?" She looked at him. "We watch," she said. "And we learn." Then she added quietly, "Before they teach us what they're really capable of." The galaxy watched and waited. Humanity had shown its strength. Now someone had to test it. That someone was the Threxian warlords. Led by Karzak the Red, they were known across the stars for their power. Their ships were fast. Their weapons were brutal. Their rule was built on fear. They didn't like what they saw. Humans rising, claiming space, taking control. To Karzak, this was not just a threat, it was an insult. We have ruled the Rim for centuries, he growled to his generals. No one takes that from us. One general asked, should we attack? Karzak smiled. Yes, he said. We hit them hard. Show them who owns this space. On Mars, Caleb Morris sat with his team. Elena, Tariq, and Ray were there too. They looked at reports from deep space sensors. They're coming, Elena said. Tariq frowned. You sure? Caleb nodded. Yes, and not just scouts. He pointed at the screen. Large enemy formations, fast-moving, heavy weapons. Threxians, he said. Big force. Ray crossed his arms. So what's the plan? Caleb looked at him. We stopped them. Back on Earth, President Julie Carter called another meeting. Mara Ellis sat beside Derek Hale and Nina Cho. The Threxians are moving, Mara said. They're going after Mars. Derek looked serious. Then Mars better be ready. Nina checked the fleet status. We have enough ships, she said. But if they hit hard, it'll be close. Julie stood up. We don't run, she said. We defend. She looked at everyone in the room. This is where we prove what we've built. In space, the Aegis and dozens of other human ships moved into position around Mars. Captain Leela Cruz took command of the defense line. Her voice came over comms. All units, prepare for battle. Across the fleet, pilots suited up, weapons powered, on-shields rose. The humans were ready. The Threxian fleet arrived fast. Hundreds of ships, loud engines, heavy armor. They flew like a storm, and they aimed straight for Mars. Their lead ship, the Vorak, sent a message. Surrender now or burn. Captain Cruz replied with fire. Lasers lit up the dark. Missiles screamed through space. Ships clashed. War began. At first, the Threxians had the edge. They were experienced, ruthless, used to winning, but they hadn't fought humans before. The Aegis led a flanking move behind Phobos. Caleb and his wing launched surprise attacks. They struck fast, disappeared, struck again. Elena destroyed 2 enemy fighters in under a minute. Tariq took out a command drone. Ray covered their backs, watching the radar. They're trying to split us, he warned. Caleb responded quickly. Then we push harder. The battle raged for hours. Explosions filled space. Debris floated like stars. Mars burned in places. But the humans held. Captain Cruz ordered a full retreat. But not because they were losing. Because she had a plan. Let them think they're winning, she said. Then show them what we really do. The human ships pulled back. The Threxians followed. They thought they had the advantage. They were wrong. As soon as the enemy entered the trap zone, the hidden mines activated. Boom after boom lit up space. Enemy ships exploded in chains. The Vorak tried to pull back. Too late. A massive blast rocked the battlefield. Phobos cracked. Half the Threxian fleet vanished. The rest fled. Captain Cruz stood tall. Message to the enemy, she said. Don't come back. Back on Earth, the world watched. News spread fast. The humans had won. Not just a battle, a turning point. Mara Ellis read the latest report. She smiled. They finally understand, she whispered. Derek asked, What do you mean? She looked at him. That we're not just here, she said. We're in charge. In Virex space, Lyra Torin studied the data. She watched the battle footage. Every move, every weapon, every tactic. She turned to her aide. They did more than win, she said. They made a statement. Her aide frowned. What kind? Lyra looked at the screen. A warning, she said. She paused. To anyone who thinks they can beat them. Far away in the ruins of the Threxian fleet, survivors sent messages home. Only one word was needed. Run. On board the Aegis, Caleb sat in the pilot's lounge. He stared at the stars. Tariq walked in. You okay? He asked. Caleb nodded. Just thinking, he said. About what? Caleb looked at him. About how far we've come, he said. And how much farther we still have to go, Tariq smiled. Then let's go. The galaxy was silent. Not because there was nothing to say, but because everyone was afraid to speak first. Humanity had won the battle at Mars, and now every species knew. Humans were not just another race trying to survive. They were a power. Force a reckoning. On Virex space stations, meetings were held in secret. Lyra Torren stood before the council again. This time, no one laughed. No one ignored her. She looked at the faces around the room. We must act, she said. Before it's too late, one elder asked. Act how? Lyra pointed at the data on the screen. Humans are expanding, she said. Their ships are everywhere. Their message is clear, they will not be pushed around. Another member frowned. So what? We surrender? Lyra shook her head. No, she said. We talk. There was silence. Then voices rose. Some agreed. Most did not, but Lyra didn't care. She sent a private message across the stars. We want peace, not submission, but understanding. She hit send and waited. Back on Earth, President Julie Carter watched the reports come in. Victory at Mars had changed everything. The Threxians were broken. The Virex were confused, and other species. They were watching, waiting. Mara Ellis sat beside Derek Hale in a quiet room. She looked at him. They're going to come, she said. Soon. Derek nodded. Yeah, some for peace, some for war. Mara sighed. We have to be ready for both. He smiled. We always are. At Dawnwave Station, preparations began. It was no longer just a place for messages. Now it was a meeting ground for any species willing to talk. The station was cleaned, lights turned on, defenses strengthened. Mara was chosen to lead the talks. She wasn't a soldier, but she understood people, even alien ones. She read the final message from the Virex. We do not know what you are, but we wish to find out, she replied with one word, come. In deep space, the Aegis floated near Jupiter. Caleb Morris stood on the bridge. Elena, Tariq, and Ray were with him. They looked at the radar. More ships were coming. Not enemies. Not yet, just unknown. Caleb turned to his team. Think this is the start of something bigger? He asked. Tariq grinned. Feels like it. Elena crossed her arms. Better be careful. Last time we met aliens, they tried to kill us. Ray looked serious. Maybe this time they won't. Caleb looked at the screen. Or maybe they'll try anyway. Back on Earth, the world changed again. People who once feared aliens now saw them differently. Some still wanted war. Others wanted peace. President Carter spoke to the world again. This is our moment, she said. Not to rule, not to fight. She paused, but to prove who we are. She looked into the camera. To every species watching this, we are not your enemy. She smiled. We are your equals. Far away, Lyra Torren received the message. She read it carefully, then she looked at her aide. She's right, she said. Her aide frowned. About what? Lyra walked toward the window. About what kind of species we're dealing with, she said. They don't want control. She turned. They want respect. Her aide thought for a moment. And if we give it? Lyra smiled. Then maybe we can build something new. The first alien ship arrived at Dawnwave Station. It was Virex and small. Quiet. It docked slowly. Everyone watched. Security was tight, but no weapons were raised. Inside the station, Mara Ellis waited. She wore simple clothes. No flags, no ranks, only courage. The door opened. Lyra Torren stepped inside. They looked at each other. Then Mara smiled. Welcome, she said. Lyra bowed slightly. Thank you. They sat down and talked. For hours. About the past, about the future, about what came next. On board the Aegis, Caleb watched the live feed. So that's it? Tariq asked. Peace just like that? Caleb shrugged. Maybe, maybe not. He looked at his team. But at least we gave them a reason to try. Elena smiled. Guess that's all we can do. Ray nodded. For now. Across the stars, more ships moved, some Virex, some others. They headed toward Dawnwave Station. Some came for peace, some came for fear, but all came for one reason: to see what humans had become.